welcome back to my corner of the internet. Today is not a Wednesday, it's a Thursday, but I've got another book talk video for you guys. I'm a day late because I've just been so sick. Just a terrible cold. It seems everyone in town has it, and it just knocked me off my feet. But I still wanted to get this video up this week, and this evening, it's currently Wednesday evening as I'm filming this, I'm starting to feel a bit like myself again, so I wanted to film. So the book that we're talking about today is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Now, I know that I think probably my last two book talk videos I mentioned that I was reading this. This book has quickly become what I would probably call top 5 book for me. First of all, let's go back and talk about the author, Donna Tartt. This is her third novel. This was published in 2013, I believe. And that year it was just the book to read, and I didn't read it that year, obviously. Maybe because it was so hyped up, that kind of put me off of it. And I just didn't read it. It went on to win the Pulitzer Prize, and I didn't think of it again until a few weeks ago. I was at Walmart, and they had the little pocket paperback edition that clocks in at over 900 pages. And I just decided, okay, I'll pick it up. You know, expecting it to be good, but I had no idea. It's the kind of book that, while you're reading it as quickly as you can because you need to know what happens, you also get so sad as you near the end because then you know that you're done with it. You'll never read it again for the first time. So yes, this is her third novel. She put out 2 novels, and then 11 years later she came out with this one. I haven't read the other 2, but now after finishing this, I will definitely be reading the other 2. So what it's about is at the very beginning of the book. It's about a boy named Theo. He's 13 or 14 years old. 13. He's 13 years old. He's gotten into trouble at school, and because of that, his mom's got to go down, talk to the principal, the whole thing. So that day, this one day, instead of him going off to school, his mother going off to work, they're going together to the school in order for her to talk with the principal. So they leave early, they've got some time to kill, and instead of going for breakfast, which had kind of been the original plan, they go to the museum. And while they're in the museum, there's an explosion, a bombing in the museum, and Theo's mother's killed. So he kind of wakes up amidst the rubble inside this museum, and he can't find his mom. There's an elderly gentleman beside him who's very clearly dying, and that man gives him the ring off of his finger and an address and says, you know, if you make it out of here, can you please take this ring to this address and kind of just tell them that you were with me, that I was okay and I wasn't alone. So of course Theo takes the ring. He also takes a painting from the museum. He's not entirely sure why. He just kind of compulsively takes it. He's 13 years old. You know, he's not really thinking about, you know, anything logically. He just takes it. And what he takes is the Goldfinch, the painting from the 1600s. A very celebrated piece of art. So he goes home to the apartment where he lives with his mom, and he's kind of thinking like, okay, I'll just wait for her here. You know, despite the fact that he saw, you know, bodies all over the place. Him and his mom, moments before the explosion happened, they separated, and the plan was, you know, they'd meet up after. So he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home and wait for her. And he can't wait to show her the painting, and you know, time goes on, and he, of course, you know, being 13 and not really emotionally ready to put the pieces together, he keeps thinking she's going to come home. Until eventually he finds out that she's not. So social services get involved, and he gets placed in the home of a wealthy family that are family friends. He goes to school with one of their sons. His dad's long out of the picture, so his mom was his only caregiver. So he's put in this home with this family, and it's a fine situation. They're familiar faces who care about his well-being. That's all going fine. He's clearly very traumatized by the events that have happened, by losing his mother. He's not even, at 13 years old, he's not immediately processing it. He's dealing with all these people and classmates that don't know how to talk to him, who don't know what to say. But he's dealing as best he can, and then eventually he works up the courage to take the ring to the address provided. And who he finds there is another elderly gentleman who is partners with the one who died in the museum. And he owns like a furniture restoration store. He restores furniture, they deal in antiques. And Theo kind of strikes up a friendship with this old man. They kind of bond over their loss. And it becomes a really nice relationship for him. Then, after he's settled as best he can into his new life, his father turns up at his doorstep, telling him that he's taking him away from the only city he's known, all the people that are familiar to him, and he's taking him to Las Vegas, where he lives. Now, I won't go into much more detail after that. From there, that's the first few pages. Probably the first 100 or so pages. Without giving too much away. From there, it just spirals. His time in Vegas is just insane. He meets a friend there, Boris, who becomes a brother to him, even more than a brother to him, a soulmate of sorts. Someone who he can almost communicate with without words. They come to know each other so well. And then eventually he finds his way back to New York City after more tragedy, and it goes on from there. It's such a fantastic book. It's so beautifully written that it's almost heartbreaking, just the prose. She's a master wordsmith, this woman. There's so many lines that I'd underline or dog-ear to go back to because it's worded so perfectly. Simple thoughts that we all have are just taken, and she weaves them so beautifully. And I love that. I have so much respect for someone who can take something so simple and word it in a way that is exactly what your soul is trying to say, but you can't find the words for. And that happens over and over and over again in this book. I've read some reviews that say that it goes on for too long, that it could have been an excellent 500-page book, and that Donna Tartt needs a better editor and this, but editor in terms of cutting down the size. But I disagree. I think everything that was in there was necessary. There were no parts that were a struggle for me to get through. I was never like, we're still on this? There was nothing like that. And the story snowballs. You would think starting off with a terrorist explosion in a museum that kills the boy's mother would kind of be the apex of the story, and it would all kind of slow down from there, but it just snowballs, and more and more and more happens. And it's a striking look at tragedy. It's a look at the way that we deal with pain and loss. Because, of course, pain and loss is a universal theme. We are all going to feel that over and over again to varying degrees. So it's universal in that way. The characters are beautifully written. I cared about them a lot. Like the main character, Theodore Decker, Theo. I cared about him so much. He was written so well and so real that, you know, you're reading it and there's a part of you that falls in love with a well-written character, you know, and that happened with him, and I cared so much about what happened. And a lot of times in characters, it's somebody that we can relate to, that we get that strong connection with, but it wasn't that with him. I don't relate to him. I don't see myself in him. In a lot of ways. I mean, in some, perhaps, but not in a lot of ways. But he was just somebody I cared so much about. And the other main character to me is Boris, his friend, and it's the same. It's so well written. This Russian boy that you care so much about. And it's beautifully written. If, like me, you've been avoiding it because it was so hyped up that year, don't. It's worth the read. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. I got this at Walmart, I think for like $10 or $12. So, you know, you can probably get it for even less on Amazon. And it's a fascinating read. If you've read it already, I would love to hear what you thought. If you haven't, I hope you do. And if you do, then let me know what you thought. But yeah, it's just one of those books that I had to, you know, you want to tell everyone about because you love it so much. And just the self-awareness in it, the self-reflection, the worldly reflection. You know, it's not a happy story. It doesn't necessarily have a happy ending, but it has a satisfying ending. And within that satisfaction, there's happiness. I guess is maybe the best way to word it. It's a story about accepting what is. It's about finding out where you should draw the line between what the heart wants and what's best for you. And towards the end, it talks about, you know, from every angle, from everyone, we're always told, be yourself, follow your heart, which is great advice and is absolutely what, you know, be yourself, yes. But in this, she talks about, but of course through the character Theo, what if being yourself is being someone who's really toxic because of the damage? What if being yourself is running headfirst into chaos because it's what you crave, because it's what you're left with after being so cracked open? What do you do then? And I think it's an interesting look at that. Do you fight it? Or do you be yourself? So, yeah. That's about it. I just wanted to jump on and talk about it because I could not talk about it anymore. So good. This is it for now. Pardon me, I'm still not feeling great, so I'm trying to, I'm losing my train of thought here. But yes, thank you so much for watching. On Friday, I'm going to have a September favorites video coming up. And yeah, I guess that's it. Oh yeah, here's something I was wondering about. Have you been noticing something weird going on with the subscriptions here on YouTube? I've been noticing that, say I'll think of someone who I've been subscribed to and who I comment and watch all their videos, and I'll think, oh, I haven't seen a video from whoever in a while, and then I'll go to their channel and I'm not subscribed to them. And I know I did not unsubscribe. And that's happened to me a few times. Has that happened to you at all? So I don't know if it's just a glitch or what, but yeah, and especially if you notice that I'm not commenting on your videos, and I've always commented on your videos, and that's, you know, we're friends and all of a sudden I stop, come and let me know, because that's not me. That's not what I wouldn't just leave you. And it probably means that I've been unsubscribed, and I don't know why that's happening. And actually last week, I think I had one of my subscribers comment on a video and say that she had to resubscribe because she had been unsubscribed and she hadn't done it herself. So that's weird. Keep an eye out for that, you guys. I certainly would hate to lose touch with somebody based on an error like that. So yeah, if you don't see me around and I'm not commenting on your videos, and I normally comment on your videos, come and let me know, because I've probably been unsubscribed by accident. So that's it for now, you guys. I hope you've been having a great week, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.